Hi, my name is Caitlin Solis. This is my third year working for the Montauk Historical Society as a Robert David Lyon Gardiner Young Scholar, and this is a presentation of the research and work I've participated in this summer. For the past 2 summers, I've worked on researching the history of a neighborhood in Montauk called Shepherd's Neck. Shepherd's Neck was a neighborhood designed for Montauk's developer Carl Fisher to house his workers who helped build the town. I started my work this summer by reaching out to the National Registry of Historic Places to request guidance as I began the application process. The National Registry informed me about what information I need to gather to fill out the first step of the process, which is the Historic Inventory form. My first step was to confirm the build dates for the Shepherd's Neck homes. I knew that the majority of the homes in the original style were built from 1926 to 1929, but wanted to identify the build dates for each of the 25 sites on our list. With the help of an advisor at the Montauk Historical Society, I visited the Suffolk County Clerk's office to locate deeds, and I found from the deeds that many of the houses were divided into lots in 1927 by the Montauk Beach Development Corporation. This confirmed that the land was designated for the Shepherd's Neck workers, which was really helpful for describing the territory for the historic inventory form. As part of this project, I also had the opportunity to interview some community members who own Shepherd's Neck homes. I found that homeowners are some of the best sources of information when it comes to local history research. One person that I talked to had a copy of the covenant, seen here, for their house, which had information about what you can or can't do on your property for the Shepherd's Neck neighborhood specifically. On this slide, you can see the property restrictions that the company had. These restrictions ranged from everything from not having stables on the property to not allowing it to be purchased by anyone who is not Caucasian. The next step I took to finding out more information about the houses was to go through photographs and maps in the Montauk Library Archives collection. Since the historic inventory form requires the applicant to submit photographs of the property, I submitted a mix of pictures from the 1920s all the way to current day photos I took myself. It was during this period of research that I received a tip from a homeowner about the architect of the homes. I learned that the name of the architect was Robert Tappan and that he had been responsible for designing some homes in Forest Hills, New York. I decided to look into Robert Tappan's work to find information on his design style. Luckily, I came across an article in the American Architect and Architecture magazine that was written by Robert Tappan himself and detailed how he built all of those Shepherd's Neck houses. The Tappan article has specific dimensions for all the rooms and doors. It talks about everything from the inspiration for the houses to the difficulties of the terrain they were built on. Once I put together the research, I drafted a narrative description of the district as instructed by the historic inventory form. I used my research to discuss the history of the area, building materials, and extent of renovations. I also wrote the boundary description that detailed what streets the properties run along and where exactly Shepherd's Neck is located in Montauk. Lastly, I wrote a statement of significance that explains why it's important to historically designate the neighborhood, citing issues such as modern renovations and preserving history. The next part of my project was putting together grant materials for the Historical Society to apply for the next cycle. This grant will allow us to pay for a survey of the neighborhood, which is needed for historic designation. The last part of my project was to write a descriptive article for the Montauk Historical Society's blog about how to conduct research on one's home. I want to thank the Montauk Historical Society for inviting me back to continue my Shepherd's Neck research, and the Robert David Lyon Gardiner's Young Scholars Program for sponsoring the research I've conducted. Thank you.